Okay, do you want to hear about the past?
I do.
Do you want to hear about 1984, 1985, 1986, 1987, all of those years that happened before you were born, or maybe while you were born, or maybe when your mum was born, or your girlfriend was born, or your boyfriend was born, or, you know, if the...
Move on. Just move on. Move on.
Then you want to watch CVXX. It looks like Cucks, but it's a V.
It's a V.
CVXX because it's a culture show, it's a review show, it's your nostalgic memories, it's the best retro show that you can watch in the UK. It comes from Ryan McLeod of Consulvania, Rab Florence of Consulvania, and it's supported by Guft Industries.
Here, the only you in CVXX, the only you in CVXX is you.
You. Don't say me.
No, I'm
don't
pointing.
ask them to join in, because then they'll say me, and that doesn't work. It has to be you. You have to say it. You ready?
I've got gum in my mouth.
You've got gum in your mouth? Why? Guff don't like that, by the way. Get it in the file of facts.
I'll put it in my accounting section. I don't really use that anyway because we don't have any money because of...
Hello and welcome to CVXX, and it's part 2 of 1986.
What's your name?
My name is Rab Florence.
What's my name?
Do you want me to say that?
Yeah, please.
His name's Ryan McLeod.
Still doing that.
Now listen, this is a wee shout out to... Showing a wee bit of too much nipple there. Just a wee shout out to all the viewers and listeners. We're available, I believe, as a podcast now, so on your podcast provider you can check that out. We're on YouTube, we're on the dark web as well, I've heard, and also if you want to be a patron, you can join us on Patreon, patreon.com/Consulvania, and that's where you'll get access to extra material, because Guft have asked us to do some extra stuff.
Yeah, some extra patron-only content that's now going to be available moving forward from here. Which we're more than happy to spend more valuable time making. Also, to engage the audience, Guft want us to participate in the Morning Guft. The Morning Guft has been something that we need a new version of the Morning Guff for ourselves. So a Guft song, they want me and Ryan to work on a Guft song, some kind of Guft song or chant, so that we can participate in the Morning Guft. It is also nearly Christmas as well, so maybe it could be a Christmas tie-in Guft. I wouldn't theme it after Christmas, when you consider it's like August and we need to sing it every morning of the year. But the Morning Guff, so if anybody's got any ideas for songs or chants, please do send them in. They have to be Guft related. You have to mention Guft at least 14 times in the Morning Guft. I think we are getting somewhere also with PO boxes. We won't have a PO box, but we're now, Guft are also sorting out a Guft producer for us, so he, I think, is on the PO box trail. It's exciting. Hey, listen, I've never had a PO box before. And it's only been 4 or 5 months since we first mentioned it, so that's no bad for us. Do you know who had a PO box? One Mr. A guy I would like to introduce. How long is it going to take to introduce? As Mr. Don't know if you remember this guy. His name, right? His name was Mr. I like to call him Mr. Tony Hart. Of Heartbeat. Not the Nick Berry show about police officers. By the way, no Heartbeat. Was it called Heartbeat? Maybe no, because Heartbeat. I'm freaking out. By the way, was Tony Hart's art show called Heart? This is a time slip minefield that's going on. Sorry, guys. I think Heartbeat might be on. Quick update to a previous episode when you asked someone to mail in and let you know if Nick Berry was still alive. I had a wee look myself, and he is actually still alive. There was a picture on the Sun newspaper had a wee while back. He didn't look like himself, but you've not seen him in ages, so that's to be expected. But he's well. You know what I call that? That's very good news that he's still alive, because you know why we did, because it's just oblivion. It's nothing. There's no sound, there's no sight. Brilliant. There's nothing. You don't even have any memories of your family or anything you've done. It's just nothing. It's just there's just nothing there forever. It's like even it was never alive in the first place. So I'm glad Nick Berry's still alive, because the alternative is frankly a fucking joke. I totally tuned it. Welcome to 1986 Part 2. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about in this episode. 13th of March, right? 1986, the Sun newspaper alleges that comedian Freddy Starr ate a hamster. Was that in 1986? 1986. Well, ultimately we know that was not true. Freddy Starr did a lot of things. He flung maggots at people. He was a bit
racist, maybe, probably, and also allegedly was innocent of other stuff.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly innocent.
But
very nicely done.
Eating a hamster, preposterous. Freddy Starr used to talk backwards stuff. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
Used to go backwards.
I wasn't aware that he had any skills or talents.
He was backwards.
He was backwards.
Ryan, what else have you got for 1986?
What have we got here? December 1st. This is all in order. December 1st, first case of mad cow disease. That's nothing more British than mad cow disease, I feel like, in my opinion.
I feel like it's been a letdown, mad cow disease.
You thought it was going to be, that was it? That was our threads
No,
moment?
I just thought there was going to be a wee bit more people going mad. I thought that when it was first introduced and they said, but it's not going to happen for like 10 years, you won't see the results of it for 10 years, and people will start to get paranoid and unhinged and start believing crazy stuff. No.
They're blaming the internet for that, but it's actually mad cow disease. Mad cow disease. I'm going to name drop a game because I think I can feel a wee bit of disturbance in the force. It's hard to tell what the genuine feedback is for the trolls, the Ike trolls that are always ever present online. But some folk have went, you're only talking about games enough, so I'm just going to name drop a game just to try and keep the people happy.
Do it then.
Peter Shilton's Handball Maradona, which gives us a good opportunity to address the English up to their usual tactics of spreading lies and misinformation about lesser nations, in their eyes lesser nations like Argentina, and sullying the name of Diego Maradona and pretending that he hit that ball with his horn when he clearly fucking didn't.
Just to explain to people, during the World Cup, Diego Maradona went up for a header in the English.
But this is like 1986, so he's got 1986 hell.
Yeah, the English fans all claimed. Yeah, they all claimed he touched it with his hand, and it went so far as, like Ryan said, a game getting released called Handball Maradona.
I'm a wee bit suspicious that Peter Shilton's game was maybe partially through development before the thing with Maradona happened, because the Handball Maradona things is a wee bit tacked on and it doesn't really have anything to do with what's happening in the game.
Is there any handball stuff in the game really, or is it just a football game?
You're a goalie. You're a goalie in it.
You're a goalie in it.
Thanks, Rab and Ryan. So Peter Shilton's Handball Maradona is a game for Peter Shilton. I'm assuming he coded it himself. Peter Shilton, I don't know if you know, was an England goalkeeper, I believe. He played for the country of England loads of times. He's got really big horns. You need to have really big horns to be a goalkeeper, obviously. Well, maybe no, obviously. That's just part of the job requirements of being a goalie, is you need to have really big horns. It's probably good news for his wife. I don't know if he's got a wife. Let's go and check. Peter Shilton has indeed got a wife. He remarried in 2016. He's got a brand new spanking wife. Look how delighted she is with his big horns. What we're looking at here is the Commodore 64 version. I thought I would treat myself. Look at all the colours. Not only do you get all the colours in the C64, but they also load a lot faster than the Spectrum version as well. Let's have a look at the Spectrum title screen. I mean, for fuck's sake. This was me for years, having to live like this. Look at the difference. What have we got there? 1, 2, 3. Do you count white as a colour? I don't. 1, 2, 3, 4 colours. 4 colours, nae sound. Being a specky owner's fucking character building. Do you want to see the game? Why don't we treat ourselves and have a wee look at the C64 version of the game to start with? Just treat ourselves for a few seconds. We'll have a look at that, just to treat ourselves. Look at that. Is that not absolutely fantastic? Look at that. That's 1986, that. That is I mean, it plays like dog shit. You're playing as a goalkeeper, as we said earlier. Why anybody thought that would be a good idea? But it looks fine. Let's look at the specky version. I think the footage of the specky version's a lot more fun than C64 footage for many reasons. That one of them is that there was an audio distortion while I was playing the game. I've dropped it considerably so it's not as sharp and piercing as it was when I was playing, but I didn't want to lose it on the experience, so I've included it. Love the Spectrum. It keeps saying Peter Shilton's football. Like, it doesn't say Maradona anywhere. I'll play the game in a minute. You just practice without me, alright? It just says Peter Shilton's football. There's no mention of Maradona. Maradona's no in this game. He doesn't show up at any point. He's not even in like disguise, you know, the way in a lot of 80s TV shows and stuff like that, you get like celebrities in disguise. I don't know what I'm talking about, celebrities in disguise, but it would be easily, I think they could have put him in this game because he's about the same size as the characters that are on screen right now. He's a tiny wee man. But none of these players that are playing against me are anywhere near the skill calibre of Diego Maradona. So I'm afraid it's 2 big fat goalie thumbs down for me.
I want to talk about computer games as well, because one of the kind of fundamental there was games you used to play back in the day that were dependable, solid fun, ones that you would load up on the regular. And one of these ones for me was a Mastertronic game. Again, listen, I was a working class boy for Glasgow. We couldn't afford to be paying 15 quid, 20 quid for games. We were spending our pocket money in Mastertronic games. And one that I remember very warmly is a game called 180. It was a darts game. 180 is the maximum score you can get for 3 darts in a game of darts. Treble 20, treble 20, treble 20, 60, 60, 60, 180.
That adds up.
And 180 was a darts game where you had this. So if you try and imagine, there was this hand, right? And you would kind of control a floating hand.
I'm pretty confident in saying that the darts genre of video games is the genre that has progressed the least since the beginning of video games. A darts game nowadays compared to a darts game in 1986, there's not that much difference.
No, I would say 180 by Mastertronic, published by Mastertronic, perfected it.
Just for a laugh, why has there no been like a career mode in a darts game where you need to hit the pub 3 times a day?
Well, can you speak with complete authority that does not exist?
No, but I'm sure I feel like I would have heard it.
How many darts games have you played?
Oh, fuck knows, dozens.
Phil the Power Taylor getting off with young lassies in your caravan, World Darts, Handball, Maradona. There's a game I would play.
Bit early for Phil Taylor.
Phil the Power Taylor.
Who hasn't happened yet.
Who hasn't even been born yet in 1986.
They've not grown him yet.
He's not been grown. He was grown in a lab to be the perfect darts machine.
He was in a ashtray, I believe, is what he was grown in.
He was grown out of a wee fagged out with spunk on it, and then it became a Phil the Power Taylor.
180.
I've never loved a guy I've absolutely detested more than Phil the Power Taylor.
Yeah, it's confusing, isn't it? It's really confusing.
It is confusing.
He's so, such an ego on him.
Horrible bastard, but God-given
gift.
I just want to, just before we move off of computer games for a moment, I want to talk about going down to the Clyde shopping centre and going into a department store and buying a game called Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future, which I believe was on a budget label, but it wasn't Mastertronic. It was like a white label. It was like a fancy. It was a specific. It was like a specific imprint of a budget label, and we'll need to check into that. But Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future, and I remember taking it home. I remember taking it up to my Auntie Maureen's house and going up to my Auntie Maureen's loft space.
Is this the show?
To play it. This is the show, Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future, it was called. I feel like this is the way Donald Trump would talk about an old computer game. I feel I should be talking about Hannibal Lecter now. Hannibal Lecter was there. And I go in and I load up Dan Dare, Pilot of the Future. It was in a beautiful white label case. It was rotten. It was rotten. It wasn't good. But it had it was very stylish. I remember it having a speech bubble vibe and stuff like that. And the Meon was in it. The Meon, of course, was Dan Dare's enemy. He was a green alien with a big giant head. But the Meon was more famous, I would say, in the UK back in the day, because anybody that had a big head in school was called a Meon.
Yeah.
And any fat guy was called Jabba.
We had a Jabba in school. We had a
Jabba and we had a Meon as well. And we had... I need to tell this story, it's a bit of a time slip, but my nephew was at school with a boy with a big head as well, whose second name was Guthrie. And they called him Guthrie Plus. Because he had a giant head. Which I think is funny. I think he just had a giant head. There wasn't anything wrong with him. He wasn't.
His giant head doesn't see this.
Oh. He wasn't a still or anything.
Benny. Still, you're right. Yeah.
So
let's move on to some content.
Yeah.
God, I hate that word. So we've got again.
There wasn't content in 1986.
No.
There was no such thing as content.
There were works of art.
No, there was pieces of art, and there was pieces of shit.
Yeah.
And that was it. That was how
the line between blurs. We've got a film and 2 TV shows again to talk to you about. So where would you like to start?
Why don't we start?
Where's your bones taking you?
Why don't we start with Lovejoy?
100 I bid, 100 I bid. Who'll give me 10? Who'll make it 110? I'm looking for 110. 110, 110 I bid. 110, who'll make it 20? Who'll make it 20? Come on, gentlemen. Who'll make it 20? 120 I bid.
A wee introduction. Lovejoy is a TV show created by Ian Lafreniere from books that were written by some other guy. I can't remember his name. But the guy who wrote Lovejoy books. And it starred Ian McShane. And Lovejoy...
What, it was his big break, wasn't it? Was his big breakthrough?
Well, I would imagine so. He was just a young guy, and he was just a child.
Ran for many seasons. Fresh out of school, wasn't
he? Just a young guy.
Fresh out of school.
Just a sexy young snippling of a guy, innit? Let me tell you something. I never watched Lovejoy when I was a wee guy. Lovejoy was... See, when Lovejoy came on, that was fucking torture. That was like hearing a nuclear air raid siren going on.
I'm not sure I've ever seen it, now that I've watched these
episodes. But do you have an awareness of it being on in your house?
Aye. But I think that's what you're talking about, as I've had the same feeling. I've just been repelled by it. I was like, this isn't for me. I'm not watching
I don't know if it was on a Sunday night. I don't know the specifics of it.
Afternoon thing?
I don't know. But I had that...
Because I was really... I don't want to get too graphic. I know Guft have advised us against that, but I'm like a load of 56-year-old woman alone in the house watching Lovejoy is is the vibes I was getting. That's who it was for.
Right, so you feel like it was for women to...
Aye, they've set aside a wee bit of alone time with their episode of Lovejoy. They maybe got a doily or something.
They've got a doily, they've got a Mr. Kipling cake, they're having a wee poke in the afternoon.
Yeah. That's the vibe I was getting.
Just to explain to any American audiences out there, a poke is, when a woman's poking herself, it's when she sticks her finger up her fanny to bring herself to orgasm.
I think the Americans are clued up on that.
But Americans, I think, also call a...
They're not very romantic, though. Like we are.
Americans also call that an ice cream cone a poke.
It's true.
Pokey hat.
It's true.
So
unbelievably managed to somehow watch the wrong episode of Lovejoy. So I've watched 2 episodes of Lovejoy, unfortunately. One for Series 6. So that's
unfortunately, he's tipped his hand there about what he thinks of Lovejoy by saying unfortunately.
I won't lie, when I realised that I'd watched the wrong episode, it was a wee bit, I had to G myself up a wee bit to get through the next one. It's a good 40-45 minutes an episode of Lovejoy. But the Series 6 one had that guy in it again. You remember the guy for Life Force? White hair, Cthulhu Mansion, that guy, he's in it. So
do you know an interesting fact about Lovejoy? Series 1 came on in 1986, right, which is why we're covering it. And Lovejoy, by the way, he's an antiques expert, right, who gets involved in crimes or something, God knows. I
can't believe we just broke into talking about Lovejoy without explaining.
No, we need to explain it.
You need an explanation.
Lovejoy is an antique trader and expert. He's called a divvy, isn't he?
Is he?
They refer to him as a divvy because he's good at kind of working out what fakes are and all of that, what fake antiques are. One of his pals
is called Tinker, I noticed, and I wasn't sure how PC that was.
It's not very PC. One of his mates is called Tinker. But let me tell you something. Series 1 came on in 1986 and Series 2 came on in 1991.
Oh, really?
There was 5 years. So you were leaping away ahead. You were leaping away ahead in time.
Then.
Massive time slip. But we're in 1986. We watched Series 1, Episode 5, I believe, which was about flinters. Is that what we was calling it?
The Judas Pair?
The Judas Pair, a couple of flintlock pistols, right? But they were calling it flinters, right?
Yeah.
They were calling
there were different components as well. I was finding it a wee bit hard to navigate. They were talking about individual components of the gun, but I think the guns were also referred to as flinters.
Yeah, to explain the setup, this man... There was this pair of guns called the Judas Pair, right? And there were these 12 sets of flintlock pistols made.
And they're supposed to be a myth. An antiques myth.
Yeah, there's a myth that a 13th set exists called the Judas Pair, right? And everybody wants them. Every collector wants them. And anyway, this guy gets killed. He gets shot in the eye, right? And Lovejoy gets brought in by the family of this guy to go, can you find out what happened? We think it's got something to do with his flintlock pistols. You're an antiques expert. Can you solve the crime? I mean, fuck knows how this as a thing, right?
Lovejoy wears a leather jacket, so he looks like a guy who could competently have a conversation with a mechanic or something like that. So they've went, oh, can you solve this murder for us?
Is he sexy?
Personally, I think he is.
If you were a middle-aged woman, right?
Fucking forget about it.
You'd be poking yourself.
Oh God, aye. Oh, God.
I mean, he is quite handsome in it. There's a really weird dynamic in it.
He's also like super confident as well. I thought his performance was actually pretty good.
Yeah, he's really good. He's super confident. He's cocky. He's kind of jokey. He's got a wee twinkle in his eye. He also can get serious at times, and he cuts about with this posh lassie called Lady Jane or Lady something, right? Mm-hmm. And
looks like she should be in a coffee advert or something.
Yeah, I mean, she's an attractive woman, and I was played by Phyllis Logan, and I'm watching this episode, and I've never seen Lovejoy before, and I was astonished, Ryan, when her husband appeared in it. Mm. And he was like, I'm not sure about you hanging about with this Lovejoy. And they're flirting and all that. It's like a really weird... Mm-hmm. But why is he letting his missus cut about with Lovejoy?
Well, you've heard how deep his voice is, so he's clearly very confident.
It's really odd. Like, you would never let your posh wife, what they would call that? Posh totty is what they say in it.
Oh, definitely. 22 minutes I've written down. Did you see Lovejoy cutting about in his t-shirt and nothing else, like nothing on the bottoms? I think he had a pair of pants on, but it's 1986, so it's a pair of tight Y-fronts he's got. It looks as if he's got nothing on apart from a t-shirt.
It's a bit
I think she was in that scene, actually.
Cosy Englishness. That's what I've written down. I don't know what world this show's set in, because it doesn't exist, right?
It's pretty elaborate, aye.
But it couldn't have existed even back then. This world.
You never know. You know how much exposure have you had to like twee Toryland down in the south of England?
Not much. I'm a proper working class guy, man. I just cut about with guys fuck my bit.
Yeah. See, I've been to like places like Godalming and like little Tories.
Have you been to Kent?
Strongholds. I'm just back from Kent.
I was
at a marriage in Kent wearing this suit in Kent on Saturday. These places are different. There is wee hidey holes where bizarre people and bizarre things are going on.
Have you noticed that Kent has 4 letters, Kent, and so does Guft?
No. Right enough.
It's quite interesting, isn't it? Let me tell you something about Lovejoy. He hates computers. I know there's a lot of computer fans that watch this show, computer game fans. They'll be fucking letting Lovejoy know you like computers. He's getting no time for them.
Computers are made out of plastic and circuit boards and stuff. That's no sexy.
You can't make a computer come.
Hair. Yeah, you can't make a computer come, and they don't have any pubic hair. So he's getting no time for them.
No, he's getting no time. Tinker's getting no time for them either. But there's a young boy that works with Tinker and Lovejoy. Fucking just laughing at the fact we're talking about Lovejoy. What are we doing? Is this an actual podcast?
Did you enjoy Lovejoy? Did you enjoy Lovejoy?
Did I enjoy Lovejoy? Did I love Lovejoy?
Yeah.
No, Ryan.
Yeah, I think I feel similar.
I did not like it. Not only did I not love it, I didn't like it at all. I was conflicted because I actually enjoyed the last 5 minutes of it. I enjoyed the kind of reveal. So I don't want to spoil it for you in case you're going to watch your Lovejoy box sets.
Somebody said bullshit in it, which I was pretty stunned about.
Somebody said bastards.
Really?
Yeah.
Must have missed it.
Lovejoy was talking about, he says something like, the bastard's got a crossbow.
Oh,
this makes this show sound fantastic when I put it that way. That at one point,
if you explain that shootout sequence with the crossbow and the flinters, then it does sound a lot better than it actually.
It's a really cozy show with kind of posh, and everybody's quite posh apart from Lovejoy, and even Lovejoy's considered not posh, but he's not posh. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he. And yet later on there's a guy firing a crossbow and trying to shoot them with a crossbow, and then he's loading pistols and firing these pistols, and it's just it's a really bizarre show. It doesn't exist in the real world at all, does it?
Trying to score a big sum of money, and I believe he turned his nose up at 80 grand. I think.
I don't know,
because he thought that he could make more.
I don't know what his game is. The most exciting parts of this episode were when he went to the pub, there was music for the 80s playing. So when they went to the pub, that's Jungle Boy song was playing, you know,
Yeah, they're in the pub quite often.
It was exciting. And then also Money for Nothing was playing one time when they went to the pub.
Aye, it was.
With Dire Straits, and that was exciting. But he's definitely a shagger. One of the boys at one point says, "Oh, I saw a woman's bike down at the end of the lane where you live." I thought, and he's shagging a fucking district nurse. You know what I mean? So he's a notorious shagger, right? But it was Ian Lafreniere, by the way, who wrote this episode, and he wrote Porridge, obviously amazing, wrote The Likely Lads, amazing, you know, with Dick Clement, and there's a lot to like about it, like the patter was good and all that, but I just kind of feel that the format, it was just too mental for me. Mm-hmm. It was too out there for me that this guy would even get called in to investigate something, and the police are all kind of like that. Oh, I Lovejoy, you know what I mean? And I'm thinking, what the hell is going on? What is this world?
Jacket. He's got a leather jacket. That's why they're all respecting him in that way.
But again, the last 5 minutes was actually quite clever. Like the secret about the Judas pair was quite cool, I thought. Did you know? Don't spoil it.
Remind me, because I've watched 2 episodes. I think they're merging together. What do you mean by the secret?
About how the guy who gets shot in the eye actually get killed, I thought was actually quite a cool reveal.
You're going to have to remind me further.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Well, I'm kind of telling you the ending.
Well, I think that'll be fine. That'll probably be fine.
We're going to assume that the viewers and the listeners or anybody at Guffed won't be watching this episode of Lovejoy. It turns out that the baddie at the end challenges Lovejoy to a duel with the Judas pair pistols, right?
And it backfires.
And
it backfires.
And the reason why they're known as the Judas pair is because the bullet does not come out of the front of the barrel, it comes out of the back of the barrel and shoots the wielder in the face. So it's a trick. It's like a coward's pair of guns. The guns themselves are Judas's, they'll betray you.
You would 100% be able to tell that for examining them.
Oh, no. Ryan's saying you can 100% tell that for examining them. Let me tell you something. I used to watch religiously, and this is a time slip, I'm sorry, but I would religiously watch Bargain Hunt with Ryan. We were huge Bargain Hunt fans, right? And every time your man in Bargain Hunt touched a bit of furniture and a mad fucking...
You're talking about the OG presenter of Bargain Hunt.
Yeah,
David
Dickinson, right?
No, what's his name? Who's fine.
Who's also
fine.
good.
He's fine.
But anytime David Dickinson touched a wee something on a bit of furniture and a wee fucking drawer opened up or a wee thing lifted up, Ryan was blown out of his fucking shoes. So don't you tell me that you would have been able to work it out.
He learned all that in prison, David Dickinson, I'm sure.
I'm sure he did. But David Dickinson obviously modelled himself after a Lovejoy type guy.
He's the same colour.
Sexier, I would say, David Dickinson.
More exotic. Definitely, more exotic.
Ian McShane did go on to huge success in a show called Deadwood later in life.
Never heard it.
Said did a lot of swearing in it. Said a lot of fucking and blinding in it. Cocksuckers. Calling people cocksuckers, saying fuckers and all of that. Prostitutes. But that was Lovejoy. I was not a huge fan of that. Right? I was quite disappointed.
Me neither.
I was hoping it was going to be one of the things that, you know, you would watch and go, I didn't get it because I was a wee guy. There's other shows like things like Bergerac that I just would never have watched when I was a wee guy, and I wonder to myself, maybe Bergerac was good. You know? Maybe Lovejoy was good.
Also, Bergerac and Lovejoy have got the same problem, and they're quite English. I don't want to start a big dispute about it, but it's definitely in our genes, isn't it? It's more English than British, if you know what I mean.
Here's an interesting question for you though about Bergerac.
Do you quite enjoy saying Bergerac?
Bergerac. It's no set. It's set in Jersey, which isn't England, really, is it?
It's to me.
It does, by the way. It does. Tell you where else is. Edinburgh. That's fucking English as well, if you ask us. So that's Lovejoy. So I was quite disappointed. I wouldn't bother checking it out. That would be your thing. I'm sorry, Ian McShane, a fine fella.
If you're a very lonely 55-year-old spinster, you've got nothing to do at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, then get your doilies out.
Get your doily out. Get your rabbit for Ann Summers out, and get your clit going.
I don't know what the last 2 things were.
You know, there was a really brilliant board game released in 1986. It was based on the Mad Max movies. pretty much based on the Mad Max movies. It was called Thunderroad. Came out by MB. MB Games brought it out. Thunderroad was a board game that had an amazing innovation at the time. So if you visualize this, there was a board, right? And your cars, each player had a number of cars and a helicopter that they were racing along this road. But the cool thing was you'd have these two boards attached together. And when you moved off the backboard, when all the pieces were off the backboard, you would move the backboard to the front. So it was like this never-ending road you could chase on. Man, let me tell you something. Thunderroad is a fantastic board game. And we'll have a wee chat about it now. You know, I've had a love affair with Thunderroad, this board game, since 1986. And I'm going to declare my love in my own way. Baby. Just look at the way this UK edition of Thunderroad looks. Gold and bronze, still in great condition. Everything stored away in little baggies. And look at it, when you set this game up on the table, it's something special, something almost sexual about it. Obviously the sexual part of it was something I couldn't appreciate in 1986 properly when I was just a wee guy. I would only have been 9. I probably started kind of wanking, no fully masturbating, but probably just, I suppose in a sense, I remember having erections and stuff like that, and I remember, but nothing would come out, like semen wouldn't come out at the end of my penis. Each player has some cars to control, cars of different ranks, and you speed along the road, man, and it's just like Mad Max. That's what they did, you know. You can attack other cars, you roll the dice to attack each other. Really simple gameplay systems, but man, the story this game tells is fantastic. And this is just the kind of game that turns me on, because I didn't appreciate it in the same way when I was, a kid. Like I said, I probably did get turned on. Probably was a sexual element sometimes. I would have an erection and stuff, and nothing would come out the end of my wee man when I pulled it. It was a long time ago. Older, much older now. So that's your Thunderroad, one of the classic board games, I would say, of the 1980s, one of the very best.
Have we played that? I know we played a driving game. I don't think it was
Thunderroad. We must have played it at some point, because it's one I would always pull out to play for a wee 30 minutes. I just think it stands up, and of course there's a new edition of it.
What do you want to do next? 26th October 1986, bus deregulation begins in the United Kingdom, except Greater London and Northern Ireland.
What does that mean, bus deregulation?
I think they let private companies run the buses, and from that point forward, the Glasgow buses.
Privatisation basically is what he's talking about. I just played right into her horns, right? On that stuff.
Oh, aye, she's still there.
She who shall not be named.
She's still there.
Thatcher played right into her horns, and listen, do you remember all the cunts that used to cut about with Thatcher, man? Guys like
David Mellor.
No, him.
Mind he was in a sex scandal, David Mellor. How the fuck?
You've time slipped. That was John Major. Remember John Major was in a sex scandal?
I'm talking about Mellor. Remember that ugly bastard?
No, but he was in John Major's government. You've time slipped.
It's too late.
Mellor was
He's still a bit.
Major was in a sex scandal as well. Thatcher wouldn't have been a sex scandal, would she?
Well, I think if you stuck it in her, you'd probably just turn to ash.
I bet you Thatcher watched Lovejoy, man.
Oh God. What do I think about that?
I bet you Thatcher watched Lovejoy. I'm not going to say, because I know there are English people who watch this show and listen to this show, and I know they all love Thatcher, so I'm not going to say anything about whether Thatcher's touching her clit watching Lovejoy.
Fuck.
But I bet you she was.
Christ, man. Fuck's sake.
Should I talk about another computer game? Is that okay?
Well, if you want.
I was a big Doctor Who fan all my life. Big Doctor Who fan.
You know any more?
1986 Doctor Who Minds of Terror came out. Commodore 64.
Type of game is that?
A rotten one. It was rotten.
This is the problem that we're up against, I think, right now in the mid-80s, that games are getting better, but they're just no as good as films and telly. They're not as good as Lovejoy.
Fantastic home version of Bombjack came out in 1986. Can't beat Bombjack, you know. I remember playing Bombjack for the first time and not realising that to get the best scores you want to collect the bombs as they spark up and start burning, you know, as the fuse is burning down. I was just collecting all the bombs like a wee idiot. But to be fair, I was only 9. I was only 9, you know. You don't understand how sexy Lovejoy is when you're 9. How can you contextualise how sexy Ian McShane is when you're 9 years old? It's just not a thing.
He does look like a guy who'd be really good at putting you to bed, maybe tucking you into bed.
Let me say something about Ian McShane, right? Lovejoy. I would say, of every man that ever existed on the planet, right? Lovejoy looks least like a paedophile.
Yeah.
Ian McShane you look more like a paedophile than Ian McShane. I look more like a paedophile than Ian McShane, right?
David Mello looks
way more.
My God.
Way more. But Ian McShane you would never say, that guy, man, you're no surprise he's a pedo. Not a chance.
If you were told he was doing 20 years to life for garroting a paedophile.
Oh, you'd believe that.
Aye. That's
you believe that. Did you know that? But he's an honourable man as well, Ian McShane. You know, he has that honourable look. Like you said, he would garrote a paedophile, but he wouldn't fucking shoot a taxi driver like Dirty Den did. He's not going to fucking shoot a taxi driver, I'll tell you that. Don't worry, pal, when you come, you want to be in the top-rated telly programme in the UK, I ain't bother. Well, what have you been up to lately? I just shot a taxi driver in Germany. All right,
do you not remember how annoying it was, though, to have like the right money for taxis and stuff like that? Maybe it was just easier to shoot the guy. 20th of September, Yu Suzuki, a big name in the gaming world, brings out Outrun into the arcade.
Outrun the arcade 1980, and the heavens opened, because let me tell you, I love the Outrun games. So that was the start of a lot of amazing things. We obviously spoke in the last episode that the Zelda games began, didn't they?
Yeah.
Outrun coming out, that's a fundamental moment.
Bobble, again, spoke about last episode.
Masterpieces.
Things are shifting in the gaming world.
The shift into magic has started. Yu Suzuki, a fundamental figure in my development. You know, doesn't look like a paedophile either. In fact, Clive Sinclair, I mean, I check his hard drive. As long as he had hard drives back then.
Probably knackered.
Or just kept it up.
He'd be using a Spectrum hard drive, and it's fucked.
Was there such a thing as a Spectrum hard drive, or have you just embarrassed yourself there? Because there's a lot of retro computer game experts out there on YouTube and stuff who will be mortified by the fact that you just said the 3 words Spectrum hard drive. I just want to say,
we've got a film and a TV series to talk about next, unless you want to carry on about talking about games.
No, well, let's talk about will we move on to a movie now?
Go on then.
Mona Lisa, men have named you. You're so.
In 1986, a movie came out by the director Neil Jordan. It starred Bob Hoskins and Kathy Tyson. In her breakout role. Iron Kathy Tyson. In her breakout role. And also starred Michael Caine.
Have you seen her in anything else?
Well, this is the thing. Because this actor is fantastic in this film, Kathy Tyson. I think she's great in it. But I kind of feel like she didn't really maybe get the roles that she should have got, you know?
She really reminded me, have you ever seen a documentary called Dreams of Life? Time slip again.
Oh, no, I've heard about this stuff. I've heard it was good.
It's a true story about a woman who died in front of her TV in London, but was there for years until she was discovered. So the documentary is going through her life, talking to the people that met her and trying to connect the dots. But it's very, very moving. But there's an actress that plays her in that documentary, and Kathy Tyson really reminded me of her.
Was it a happy documentary?
No, it was incredibly sad.
I'd like to die in front of my telly.
Incredibly sad.
Would you rather die in front of your telly or die at the hands of an assassin?
I'd rather be garroted by Lovejoy, I think.
Well, I mean, you know why he does that.
4 minutes into Mona Lisa, I'm no convinced, right?
Wait a minute. Can we finish a wee bit of setup?
Okay.
Mona Lisa is about, I'll at least say what it's about before he starts giving you time codes and all that, right? It's about Bob Hoskins is a criminal, low-level gangster.
He's just out of the slammer, isn't he, for doing some time.
He's out of pokey.
He was a driver.
Right, he's out of pokey after 7 years, and by pokey, I don't mean poking yourself or ice cream. I mean the nick, which means the jail, right?
Doing porridge.
Doing porridge, right? Ian LaFreniere did porridge. See, it's all connecting. This is what Guft were talking about how all these things will start to connect, and I'm starting to fucking see it now. Because we're talking about Dirty Den, everything's all connected. Anyway, so Bob Hoskins comes out of the nick after 7 years, right? And he's trying to pick up where he left off, and he gets a job working as a driver. His boss has kind of set up a knocking shop now and is into the prostitution, and he becomes a driver for an escort. That's essentially the setup. Right, on you go. 4 minutes.
He doesn't meet his boss straight away, but the first thing he does is he goes to get some work, and that's how he gets that job. But he doesn't meet his boss until later on in the film. The one thing I admired about and enjoyed about Mona Lisa is how it had plot points, important plot points, all the way through the film. I felt like something important was happening quite quickly, and quite often things were developing. Like the story was good at keeping you interested. I felt like the way it introduced characters at certain points in the film was quite well done, I thought. 4 minutes in, however, I wasn't convinced, because I felt like Mona Lisa does, and definitely does in the first half, more so in the first half than the rest of the film, but it has that thing that I don't know whether it's just me that sees it. I think you maybe see it as well sometimes, the British dramaness of a film, where it's like a British version of a film, if you know what I mean. It's like a British imitation of a movie. I like sometimes feel as if scenes start, especially like exterior scenes. There's a lot of street shots in this film. These scenes start, and I almost feel as if like it puts me in mind of like American Werewolf in London.
Right.
I can hear the director shouting action a couple of seconds before the scene starts.
An American Werewolf in London.
And both. There's
Right.
There's something about the choreography of extras and things like that isn't convincing for me, and makes me go, oh, I'm watching some kind of play or something, rather than a convincing movie drama. Do you know what I mean?
There is... Mona Lisa is a cherished British film classic. It has the air of the amateur dramatics about it.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah. And the heaviest contributor to that is Bob Hoskins, I thought.
Are you criticising Bob Hoskins here?
I think I am. But I mean, it's of its time. I think I'm a wee bit. He was very... Maybe it's just because the other characters had smaller roles, but I just thought... Like Robbie Coltrane's in it, he's his best pal. I thought he was fucking brilliant. I thought Kathy Tyson was brilliant. I thought all the young lassies that were in it were all brilliant. Still a wee bit of the amateur dramatics going on, but I thought Bob Hoskins was the shakiest out of all of them.
See, this is bizarre. See, this is where it gets interesting, because I thought Bob Hoskins carried that film on his back. Like 100% did.
I don't know. He definitely did things. I've written things down later on.
I think Bob Hoskins is the only one that kind of saw the film for what it actually was, because what surprised me about it was that I felt like it was tonally all over the place. It was...
Did you find it emotional anyway?
A couple of points. But I also thought, why are they going for a laugh so often? Like, the script is full of gags.
Well,
and not just gags, but sight gags as well. Like, there's a fight. There's a really kind of tense stuff towards the end of the movie, and a fight, and then there's a couple of dwarfs as well who are just happen to be there and happen to start fighting as well. Yeah. And I just remember, I was just thinking to myself, like, that's just a bizarre choice. It's almost like somebody has made a crime movie, but isn't completely convinced. It's almost like parodying the crime movie in a sense as well, you know what I mean?
Because The last note, second to last note that I wrote down was close to the end of the films because I had a suspicion watching the film. You know the relationship between Bob Hoskins and Robbie Coltrane's characters. They exchange books more often than not. Robbie Coltrane gees Bob Hoskins' character.
And that's how they communicate. They talk about books.
They talk about these
stories,
plot twists and these bizarre stories and these pulp novels.
Yeah.
And I was thinking throughout the film, how much has that relationship got to do with this film? Like, overall? Like, how much is this like a pulp crime film? And I was thinking about it a wee bit like that anyway, watching the film. But then, like, 2 or 3 minutes before the end of the film, Bob Hoskins comes in on a voiceover in this, like, really kind of pulp drama novel kind of way. And I went, I think that's what they were trying to go for, that it was supposed to be a bit kind of comic booky and a wee bit... You know what I mean?
I know what you're saying, but there was a lot of the Robbie Coltrane scenes where I just felt they were filler. Like, they felt like total filler.
Do you like him? I thought he was dead good.
I know, it's nothing against Robbie Coltrane or his character, all the stuff that happened in it. I mean, there was like, I was laughing at bits of the Robbie Coltrane stuff when he had statues of the Virgin Mary in his place that he was selling. And he was apologising to the Virgin Marys for the language and stuff like that when there was all these nice wee touches. But again, it almost felt like a comedy to me. The story basically is Bob Hoskins is driving for Kathy Tyson, and her concern is that there is another...
she's an escort. She's a high-class escort.
She's a high-class escort, but she's had a friend who was also a sex worker who's kind of on the street in King's Cross, in some of the worst areas, had a drug habit, and she's kind of looking out for her because her pimp is like this shady, this bad guy.
Did you recognise him?
So she's trying to rescue... No, I didn't actually.
You didn't recognise the pimp?
No.
It's the actor who played Lester Freeman in The Wire.
You're joking, is it?
Same guy.
Wow.
He doesn't have many lines, but I spotted him.
No, I didn't notice that. I did, however, spot that one of the pimps was Billy Mitchell, EastEnders.
Aye.
Perry Fenwick. I did notice him. So she asks Bob Hoskins. She asks Mr. Bob Hoskin to help her find this lassie, and sends Bob Hoskins kind of into the sex underworld, the red light district.
Who'd be waiting, asking all kinds of questions to myself, but never finding the answers. Quiet at the top of my voice.
That was probably my favourite part of the film, was when Genesis... In Too Deep by Genesis is playing, and Bob Hoskins is going to all the kind of strip clubs and stuff like that, and you were getting a real sense of London in the 80s red light district.
I've got that written down as 44 minutes, and again, that's also something about a thing that I did like about his performance, because watching him walking through these scenes, he had like a complete confidence about him. I spotted that a lot of people wouldn't have. So I liked that he had that in his character. Like he was kind of solid and grounded, and
but also a dafty, right? Because he was saying how he was
naive.
He was also talking about how he was cheap. But it's weird. Like, I think his character was actually meant to be, I mean, definitely naive, but like also kind of a dafty, like a bit of an innocent almost.
I know. I had to have a wee think about the scene when, I think it's Michael Caine's second or third scene, Bob Hoskins takes the photos back where she's drinking tea, because Michael Caine wants, obviously, that's the reason for having a prostitution network, is he wants dirt on the Johns that are paying him. So he tasks Bob Hoskins with getting some dirt, but he doesn't get it, and he takes these fake photos back of her drinking tea. But I was thinking, why was he so stupid to think that that was a good idea to show him the pictures? Obviously, he's going to be absolutely furious, which he was absolutely furious. But he's just a bit kind of...
I think he assumes that she might be in there having tea, because when he went to visit a prostitute, he assumes, so he seems to be like shocked by this criminal underworld, and it's an odd character that Bob Hoskins. I think Bob Hoskins was set a very difficult challenge in this film, because he's got to play...
I think it's clunky. It's clunky the way the separate parts of his character are shown to us. I think that's true.
But I just think the film itself has a strange... it's like you say, it's no so much. I don't want to be criticising like a classic British film, saying that it's amateur dramatics or saying that it's tonally all over the place. It feels like really bad news doing that, right? But also, I just kind of think that I was going to feel, I don't know if it's a lack of confidence or too much confidence, or maybe Neil Jordan kind of being like, well, I'm going to make one of these long Good Friday type films, but it's not going to be, it's not going to be that kind of British crime film that everybody expects. It's going to be offbeat. And I just don't think that really worked for me. I just don't, it didn't really commit to any real tone or feel. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean. I probably had a few more emotional spikes throughout it. I would say there was maybe like 4 or 5 points where I was welling up. I thought some of the performances were really good, mainly for the younger lassies.
Well, there was a really good bit in it. Well, my favourite bit in it was when she was whipping him right in the face and he'd with that whip.
Aye.
And you can see that he is like a world-class actor in that moment. And there was just like wee bits as well when they're in the strip club and just wee exchanges and wee bits of dialogue where he says to...
Talking about the Pulp Fiction-ness of it, I felt like a lot of the scenes ended with almost like, you maybe be able to word this better as a writer, but they almost felt as if they had like punchlines at the end of the scenes, had like... I don't know, they always seem to have like sign-off lines at the end of so many scenes, and it again made me think of that kind of Pulp Fiction-y detective novel-y type aspect.
But that's exactly, I think you've identified exactly the thing that I struggled with in this film, was that it had these kind of punchliney moments or these stuff that really undercut everything that was happening. So when I was trying to engage with the fact that, oh my God, this guy's eyes have been opened up to the kind of criminal underworld that's there, and then it was like these kind of almost like comedic gags and sight gags, I just thought this just completely undercut the whole...
I know what you mean. It definitely would have made a better film if it had been able to tonally shift.
And I don't know if it's... And I think it was just a tough gig for Bob Hoskins having to do that. I think it's a tough gig for Bob Hoskins having to play that kind of character.
Did you like Michael Caine?
I thought Michael Caine was great.
I thought he was instantly... Like, just the first scene he's in, he's walking down a corridor, and I just thought he was instantly, like, total charisma and
there's
presence.
When he first has that chat with Bob Hoskins where he's telling Bob Hoskins what he actually wants, he's friendly and at the same time completely threatening.
The way, similar to in the last episode talking about Walken playing a really convincing layered villain, the way he laughs when Bob Hoskins wishes him a happy birthday.
Yeah.
It's just kind of, it's so chilling.
And even just, the dialogue was good, like Bob Hoskins saying, well, it's not my birthday, and he's saying, no, it's not your birthday, is it? Things like that, you know what I mean? And you're kind of going, God, this guy's quite scary, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But yeah, lots of like nice wee moments at the time. Like, I enjoyed watching it for the point of view of feeling like, wow, I'm in the 80s, and I enjoyed watching it for the point of view of, hearing wee things like, he's watching Bob Hoskins is watching a porno at one point, just to get a bit of context about what his, the object of his romantic desires go up to in the past and what was going on. And Robbie Coltrane walks in when I'm watching the porno and he says, oh, Channel 4, is it? Mm-hmm. And I liked that wee moment because remember Channel 4 had that reputation like
it
before
was also,
became bland as all the other channels.
I know. He was also annoyed, Robbie Coltrane, that his pal was watching porn as well, which I thought was quite interesting because he was like, you can't read these books that I'm giving you, but you can watch this fucking muck.
Yeah,
Whereas nowadays, if I'm sitting having a wank to porn and you walk in, you'd join in, wouldn't you?
Well, aye, it's only polite. I just don't know what they were going for. I don't know what they were going for, really. And I felt a bit disappointed by it. But there was plenty of stuff to like in it as well. Like, you could see that it was a talented...
That's what they were going for.
Yeah, you see it was a talented director. And you could see that, and I really enjoyed Bob Hoskins in it. But I just kind of felt as well like, there was a great little scene in a lift in it. It was a really, really good scene in a lift.
Like, see if...
Good sequences, but... Yeah,
see if the same subject matter, if you gave the script and the same subject matter to maybe somebody like Luc Besson, I think you'd get a really... a much more focused film, I think. A much more...
if you'd have gave it to Luc Besson, he would have just, or the prostitutes would have been 12 instead of 15, and he'd ended up marrying one of them.
I don't know him personally, Luc Besson, so I just appreciate some of his films. I
I
cancelled myself though.
think you have. What Luc Besson films do you like? No,
Leon? No, you can't like that
he's
anymore.
cancelled himself.
You don't like that anymore?
He's cancelled himself.
Shit.
But no, it wasn't for me. But I see when I was watching it, I was thinking to myself, bet you Barry Norman fucking loved this.
Oh, aye.
I had Barry Norman loving this all over it. The film, but no, no for me. But yeah, it's just interesting that you thought Bob Hoskins was the weakest in it, and I thought he was the best in it.
It's just because, obviously he's in the film. He's the main character, so he's in it a lot more than everybody else. And as you say, he was tasked with a tough role, I think. So he was just being asked to do a lot, cover a lot of bases.
There's a sequence at the end of the film, right, where they're kind of, all the revelations are coming out and all the truth is coming out and his feelings for her are coming out and all of that kind of stuff.
Is that the scene on the pier?
Yeah, and they make
I
the
love
choice. They make the choice to wear these kind of comedy glasses during it, and I can see it's almost like the director going. It felt a wee bit like the filmmakers going, this will make it a bit offbeat and a bit different. And for me, it was just a distraction. It felt like a complete distraction that Bob Hoskins was playing these emotional scenes with daft fucking star-shaped Elton John type glasses on. Like, why would you want that? It felt like almost kind of self-defeating moments to me. But you can see why I think it's considered a classic as well. I think there's enough there for it to be, considered a classic.
I don't know.
I mean, it's no longer Good Friday, put it that way. It's no longer Good Friday.
I saw a lot of other films in it. I think I felt like they'd seen a lot of other references, and I felt like I saw an awful lot of different styles and stuff. And I still quite liked it though.
It's that, innit? It's like we're complaining about it, but I still quite liked it. I would like to move on now to a computer game.
Video game?
A computer game.
Computer game, sorry.
Computer game, don't say the word video game. A computer game, and this computer game is called Friday the 13th. Scary, I know. What
system?
Commodore 64.
Right, that'll be a lot more scary than the Spectrum version.
No, was there a Spectrum version of Friday the 13th? I don't know there was. I don't think the Spectrum could achieve it. But Friday the 13th on the Commodore 64 was very exciting for me to get when I was a wee guy. And it came in a black box with Jason's hockey mask on the front, right? And it also came with 2 blood capsules in it. 2 of the wee blood capsules that you could chew. Remember the plasticky ones you get from Tam Shepherd's joke shop? And blood would pour out your mouth.
But why would you need that to play the game?
It just came with that. It just came with that in the box.
Okay.
And I remember going to John Menzies in the Springburn Shopping Centre and buying this, and the boy had to look for ages to find the blood capsules. And then my big brother was with me at the time. My big brother was like, he wants the blood capsules. So I don't know if I can find them. He wants the blood capsules. And there was a bit of a thing, but I ended up getting the blood capsules, and then I chewed them, and blood came out, and that was it. But this is a wee look at the game. Get a load of this. You and 9 friends are spending the summer holidays at Crystal Lake Holiday Camp, miles away from civilization, unaware that Jason Voorhees was away. And here's my pals here. There's Jerry King,
right,
Amanda
mate.
Baxter, Wendy Watson, Brian Bone. He sounds a bit suspicious, doesn't he?
Fuck up, mate.
And of course, Stuart Palmer.
Right, I'm going to be phone.
Right, now while we load this, why don't we take a look at what Friday the 13th is all about? Here's some guy you'll never see in a film again. Cutting about, just looks like somebody's uncle or something, somebody's dad. Oh, no sign of Jason Voorhees in there. Let's try and walk out here slowly now, and what's a lavy pan? Oh, got a fright. Speaking of frights, that's a game loaded. So in this game, Friday the 13th, can you find and kill Jason before he can kill you? I'm going to play Jerry King here. Jerry has a taste for adventure. He would never refuse to help anyone and is a natural leader. I know a guy called Jerry who's like this. Wonder if he's related. Anyway, here's the game. Take a look at this. Many a retro reviewer out there will tell you that Friday the 13th on the Commodore 64 is a lot of shite. However, I've always found it quite an interesting little experience. Now, what you are going to have to do, I'm going to ask you to do this, is ignore the fact that the music in this game is fucking mental. Teddy Bear's Picnic hardly gets you into the mood for a scary horror game, does it? But anyway, you get assigned one of the camper characters, and then it's your job to run around trying to discover which... Did you hear that there? Did you get a fright there when you heard that scream? See, when I was a wee boy, that scream terrified me. I'm pretending it didn't terrify me while I was editing this late at night. It terrified me again. No, but what you've actually supposed to do is you run around trying to work out which one of the other campers is Jason Voorhees in disguise. Now, I know he doesn't do this in the films, but just go with it, right? And the way that you uncover Jason in disguise is that somebody else has been murdered. You hear that scream? Somebody else is dead. Jason's starting to pick them off. The way you discover who Jason Voorhees is you go, you get a weapon, and then you hit your fellow campers on the head with a weapon to see if they're Oh, there's a lot of murders happened in here. There's a body lying in there. I saw Jason. There was Jason. Do you see him? He was in the black. I saw, there he's there. There's Jason, right? He's there. There he's there. He's fucking chopping her head off. He's chopping that. Jason's chopping. Phone the police. Jason's chopping the lassie's head off. Right, so obviously this guy with the white hair is Jason. So let's try and hit him with this axe. Let's hit. Oh, hold on, wait a minute. Hit him. It doesn't seem to be Jason. But it must be Jason. I've dropped my axe. Hold on. Oh, Jesus. Right. Oh, somebody else is dead. Right, let's get in here. Right, there's bodies everywhere now. Right, I'm just going to try and hit this guy with the axe. He's got white hair. Never trust a guy with white hair. You know what I mean? So, somebody else is dead. This is a bloodbath now. Right, here. Let's get him. See if he's Jason. Come here, you. Come here. No, mate, he isn't Jason. Maybe I'm Jason. It's like the old saying goes, if you don't know who the Jason in the room is, it's probably you. I liked this game when I was a wee guy. Now let's watch this stupid bastard getting hit in the head with a hammer. Your acting job's done, mate. Well done. Back on the dole. What games have you been looking at, Ryan?
Have you ever heard of Mind Walker, Robert?
Mind Walker?
Mind Walker.
I can't say I've ever heard of Mind
Walker. You'll probably find this interesting as well then. I believe it's for the Amiga 1, I could be off here, but Amiga 1000 I think it was originally released for. Yeah. And it has quite a unique boast because...
Did you play this at the time?
No, I'm only just finding out about this, but right, okay. It has a unique boast in that it was compatible with Amiga computers for years and years and years, maybe all of them, but for like 6-7 years across different chipsets and different models of Amiga. This game was compatible with all of them and continued to work through. And you remember like getting an Amiga 500 game and then you'd maybe upgrade to a 600 or a 1200 and half the games wouldn't work.
Yeah, they wouldn't work, yeah.
But this
but is it just by sheer luck that it remained compatible? Because
I would assume so. I would assume so.
Yeah.
But it's like a psychological game, so you'll enjoy the look of it. It's very, very Amiga, but it has different types of styles in it. You're, I believe, inside somebody's mind.
Whose mind?
I don't know. Do I find out?
Do you know whose mind I would like to have been in the 1980s? Steve Davis's mind.
That's a calculating...
efficient.
Yeah.
Calculating, efficient mind.
Remember the Castrol GTX adverts where you would watch the oil going through the clean engine? That's
Steve Davis's mind. Oh, yeah. I bet his mind was like that.
Yeah.
Yep, Steve Davis. He was a character. Was he was born in 1986, wasn't he? I don't mean he was born in that, but he was alive in 1986.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, he was just coming his peak.
Have you got a wee bit to show us of this game, Mindwalker?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, well, show us it.
If you call me Ryan, though.
Very good.
Great stuff.
Very good.
Let's find out. Look at the way when I move this window, it has to think. You can see it actually having to think about how to move a window. Times move so quickly. in computer games. Never heard of Mindwalker. I'm slightly miffed that I've never... By Bill Williams. Bill Williams also worked on Defender of the Crown, among many other games. Quite an accomplished games developer. In Mindwalker, you're inside a mind that has some kind of psychosis going on, and you have to use these 4 characters. You've got a wizard, a human, a spriggan, and a nymph, right? That's what's happening. I probably didn't have to explain that to you. It's kind of clear for the footage on screen. You would have been able to figure it out yourself, I think. You're not an idiot, are you? And what you're doing on this first stage or level of Mindwalker is that you're searching out these crystals. You're creating paths towards these crystals. You're leaving a trail. There's something troubling about this. This is you falling on to the next stage, but it also feels a bit like what my day usually feels like. I really, really like Mindwalker. It's pleasant to play. It's quite easy to play. Had I not had the internet and other people to explain to me what was happening, I would have been like many, many other people that I've seen on the internet talking about how they remember this game, but they didn't have a clue what was happening because they didn't have the manual. But it has beautiful sound. You can't move while you're attacking, by the way. It's a wee bit of a bummer. You're just still on the spot when you're attacking. But it's got great sound, and it's very inventive. And it's so Commodore Amiga. Can't believe I didn't know about it. There was a big space, a big Mindwalker space that I didn't know about, that now I know about. I would show you the later levels of Mindwalker, but you know how it is. You know how it is. You know how good I am at games. It's an old game. It's an old confusing game. You can't expect old Ryan to figure this out, can you? Check on YouTube if you want to see the later levels. You know me, I'm too busy day to day with my own Mindwalker to have the time to play a game called Let's Get Back to the Studio.
Let's hit some TV now, shall we, Ryan?
We've got one more TV series to talk about.
Well, we hit a TV series because 1986...
What we want you to do, let's do a wee exercise before we move on. With the audience. Why don't you as an audience collect a bouquet of 1986 TV shows that you would like us to talk about. A nice big fat bouquet with all the favourite TV shows that we could be talking about. And you pick one of them out of that bouquet, Robert. What are we going to talk about?
We're going to talk about...
Oh, it's beautiful. Look at that. It's absolutely beautiful.
We're going to talk about Michael Barrymore's Strike It Lucky.
On Strike It Lucky tonight, a jackpot of £2,000. The shopping spree of a lifetime in a top London store. A case of sparkling champagne. Plus, a weekend for 2 in New York. All among the prizes tonight on Strike It Lucky. Now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Michael Barrymore.
Strike It Lucky, for those who are uninitiated, was a game show format presented by comedian Michael Barrymore, and it featured 3 rows, describing this from memory, 3 rows of 10 screens. Contestants would stand in one of those rows and move across the 10 screens by their partner answering questions. Their partner would answer a number of questions, and however many they got right, that was how many spaces you could move along on the Strike It Lucky TV rows, right? And as you move along, you push a button under the TV and you'll either win a prize or you'll hit a hot spot. And if you hit a hot spot, which goes, Ryan, what's the noise? What's a hot spot not?
Well, I'm glad you asked, Robert. It's not a good spot.
Right? And the way that works is you press the first button and you'd win a prize, and then you'd decide whether you want to continue or whether you want to bank the prize. If you decide to continue, you might win another prize. Oh, you've won another prize. Do you want to bank it or continue? You've decided to continue. You've hit a hot spot. You've lost all your prizes.
You've lost your luxury sound system, your CD player, and your £150.
You've lost your soda stream. You've lost your Breville toaster. And you're trying to get a link at the end of the row to answer a question which will take you into the final, in which you play a final game where you choose the screens going along the row from top, middle, bottom. You don't have to do anything else. You just go top, middle or bottom, choose a screen, and you're trying to avoid the hot spots and get to the end and win.
You have a choice
prize
on how greedy you want to be. If you get through the
greed.
final game, you have three categories of greed. In the higher category, you win the most money, but there's more hot spots that you can hit, so you might fail.
So it's a game show format It was on ITV. Michael Barrymore presented it. Normal punters for the UK on there in their twosomes playing with Michael Barrymore, and I'm just going to come right out and say this up top. Strike It Lucky.
I know what's coming.
Is fucking magic. Strike It Lucky is absolutely fucking brilliant. I remember it being brilliant when I was a wee guy.
We've just spent about 5 minutes explaining how the show works, and an episode of the show is only like, what, 24 minutes?
24 minutes.
Minus the adverts is about 24 minutes of TV. And about 77.5 minutes of that TV show is Michael Barrymore just talking to the contestants.
This show, this format is fantastic. I was thinking about the game show formats over the years, and there aren't many that have managed to unite a household. Everybody, when I was a wee guy, loved it. We all watched it. We all loved it. It's the easiest thing to watch in the world. The easiest game to understand.
I really, really miss the nervousness that there is in the air in Strike It Lucky, because it's like we're filming a TV show. What's going to happen? What's Michael going to say to us? I really miss it.
Michael Barrymore in this first episode has a kind of nervous energy about him of somebody who is thinking. He's thinking in his head. I was watching this and I was going, what is Michael Barrymore thinking as he shoots this first episode of Strike It Lucky? I'll tell you what I think Michael Barrymore is thinking. I think he's thinking, this format is fucking magic. I think he's thinking, if I get this right, I'm going to be presenting this show for 20 years. You know, that's how good the format is. Like, I genuinely think, Ryan, it's instantly a masterpiece of kind of game show design. I think it's a masterpiece of game show design. I just think it's a wonderful thing.
Oh my god! Okay, so 1 minute 20 is my first note that I've written down.
Yeah,
this is Michael just talking to people, and it genuinely, I don't know if it's today maybe we get slightly dodgy aspect ratios, but it genuinely looks like a Talking Heads video that you're looking at, because it's about 70% shoulder pads that are in the shots.
At 6:58, I've got a note. Michael Barrymore has a weird moment. So there's a contestant, her name is Elizabeth Taylor. Even that, it's just magic, right? You know that the minute that lassie applied to go on the show, Elizabeth Taylor, they went, she's coming on this show, because then Michael Barrymore can make jokes about her getting divorced. He can make all sorts of jokes about the fact that her name's Liz Taylor, right? Gold. Anyway, Elizabeth Taylor at one point doesn't really understand how the game works and almost kind of moves on and tries to press a button before she should press a button, and Michael Barrymore kind of touches on the shoulder to try and stop her, and there's an awkward wee moment, and I watched this moment about 20 times and was howling laughing at it. Get it played. Guft, play this clip, because it's just magic. It's pure magic. It's a kind of TV awkwardness, a kind of, not even like an amateurishness, more just a kind of natural, organic, impulsive, real people vibe that you don't get for TV shows nowadays.
Elizabeth, you like to stand here. Now, all right, Barbara. Now, each time you strike the button, you...
I've got another one of the moments written down, actually. I've missed the one that you're talking about, but I'll have a look again. But I've got another one of those types of moments written down at 11:40 when the bottom people again, that is the Liz Taylor, she was the third one, wasn't she? Third one along.
Yeah, she was with the guy that looked like Clive Sinclair.
Aye, and they were just friends, seemingly. But they go...
No, they were married.
Were they?
Yeah, they were married. They were recently married because... they've been married for a few years because Michael Barrymore made the joke about, she'll be getting rid of you soon.
Ah, right, okay. Yeah. But they go, I create a champagne at one point, but I think they had 3 maybe to go. Definitely 2, but maybe 3 to go. But I create a champagne right at the start, and there was a kind of awkward confusion about, will we move on or will we keep this crate of champagne? And they ended up keeping the crate of champagne, which was a stupid decision because they ended up losing the game. But there's another one of the...
awkward.
You wouldn't even see it now. You wouldn't see it.
Well, this is before, but it's also before the TV show has aired, so people don't know what Strike It Lucky is.
Yeah.
By the time
what are we talking about here? We're talking about 3, aren't we?
We're talking about 3 what?
Episode 3. Series 1, Episode 3 of Strike It Lucky.
I'm not talking about Series 1, Episode 1.
Oh my God, I don't believe it.
I've watched Episode 1 as well. So when I was talking about Michael Barrymore's...
He's done a Lovejoy.
Well, I've talked about... Can I just go back to Lovejoy for 1 second, actually? Because there's something we never mentioned about Lovejoy that I want to mention.
Go on.
Lovejoy talks right down the lens in Lovejoy.
Oh my God, quite
didn't
early in the
mention
episode.
that.
I know. Unbelievable.
Lovejoy breaks the fourth wall like Deadpool and talks right down the lens in Lovejoy. And in the episode that we watched, he talks down the lens at one point and then he never does it again.
I know.
Which makes you think that you've maybe just hallucinated it.
It's such a bizarre show. There's like a dream sequence in one of the episodes as well, and it's bizarre. It's a bizarre show.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Strike It Lucky. So we've both watched episode 3 of series 1.
Yes,
That's the one
yes.
we're talking about here. And yeah, I've got written down that Michael unfortunately says that he wouldn't wink at a man, which was a wee bit close to the limit.
Michael
there.
Barrymore was in the closet at the time. But listen, it was a different time in Britain back in the day. Michael Barrymore probably wouldn't have been presenting Strike It Lucky if he'd been an out gay man at the time. I don't think.
Nah, it's too early, I think.
Because it was too early, and obviously there was people like Larry Grayson and stuff who were out and were allowed to present mainstream TV shows. But I think we were still in that time back then where there was kind of limited opportunities, I would say, for people, and it just didn't. It's just, you feel sorry for the guy. I don't want to get into Michael Barrymore's personal difficulties because it's been done to death, right? Well, let's focus on his.
He struck it lucky, I thought, by being more fit than most of the other game show presenters that were around at the time, because fucking Les Dawson wasn't going to leg it up all the stairs.
He's got to run up and down stairs.
He's constantly on the move, isn't he?
The entire show. Michael Barrymore just loves shouting at old women.
Making them nervous.
Making them feel nervous and a bit awkward, but also in a charming way where they love him, right?
Yeah.
Because old women love Michael Barrymore.
It's like he's tickling them, kind of, by looking at them.
Michael
He's
Barrymore was a
tickling.
guy. I'm worried that people out there, there's some people might not really know who Michael Barrymore is, right? But Michael Barrymore was kind of famous for, in his live performances, he would throw old women. He would throw old women out of the theatre. He would go, "Get out!" and he'd get them out their chairs and get out here, Nora, and he would fling them out. His catchphrase was, of course, what, Ryan?
Are you all right? Welcome to Strike It Lucky.
All white.
All right, you all right? We used to shout that at school, didn't we?
All white in the pool.
All right. They did it. The one thing
I couldn't believe that I saw a question on this
I
bloody
said, let's
TV
not talk
show.
about Barrymore's personal difficulties, and you fucking had to do it.
14:30 in this episode, there was a question about comedians, right? Like about British comedians, and somebody, I don't know where in England they're from, but somebody in England didn't know who Billy Connolly was. Like, they didn't know that the big one was Billy Connolly.
This is why this is one of the greatest game shows of all time, because they've managed to bring people onto the show who they kind of know some stuff, but they're going to drop incredible clangers. Because if somebody went on who was a genius who just knew everything, they would kind of romp it a wee bit, I think. You know what I mean? And nobody does romp it.
No. They could, create a champagne idiots. They could have won that game easily, but for some reason they banked on a crate of champagne. Maybe they're alkies.
But
Probably
people
alkies.
bank all sorts of stuff. This is what's interesting about it.
But you've got the chance of winning £1,500.
Somebody did bank something else in that episode. They banked a couple of things that I thought were a bit crap as well in that episode.
Sound system.
The sound system, maybe it was the sound system.
You don't even see them for some reason. They don't show you them on the show.
In one of the other episodes I watched, a woman get really excited about a microwave.
Right.
We need a microwave, and they banked the microwave. It was very exciting. I remember when my Auntie Anna got a microwave, and she was the first person I knew to get a microwave. And we went up her house and she made scrambled egg in the microwave.
Wow.
And it was
Wow.
It was mind blowing. Wow. Like, it was genuinely, I know people are going, no, it wasn't. It was genuinely mind blowing to have scrambled egg out of the microwave.
You don't need to wash the pot.
In that first period, no, you just put egg in a cup and then put salt and pepper in it, put it in, and it's a scrambled egg,
I'd
kind
have
of.
called her anti-microwave.
Bit of butter in it. Huh?
I would have just called her anti-microwave after that.
Well, I mean, it was amazing. I remember when Gary Burns up the road for me, Gary Burns, who lived up the road for me, had a soda stream. The first person I knew with a soda stream.
Right.
And you go up and his ma could just make you bottles of ginger for her house. What? Do you want a bottle of ginger? Just fucking make one.
But that's only for the first 2 or 3 months of owning one, and then after that, it's just stuck in the fucking cupboard, and you don't look at it again.
That's true. That's true.
What's
Ryan,
left? Games. Are you done talking about Strike It Lucky?
no, I'm not done talking about Strike It
Right.
Lucky. I want to play Strike It Lucky with you. Right?
Okay.
Can we do this?
Okay.
Right. So let's do this. The way we're going to do this is, Ryan, I'm going to ask you a few questions. Right.
Okay.
So first of all, what Amiga game? Right. So let's see. Here are the questions. We're going to play Strike It Lucky. So boom, 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 boom. Ryan, what Amiga game by the Bitmap Brothers was a sport game, a futuristic sports game?
Speedball.
Right, excellent. One. Ryan,
Did I not get to choose how many questions I get?
No, complete this name. Pope John Paul the...
Cunt.
Oh,
Second.
Jesus Christ, the second. And the third one I'm going to ask you is, who... complete the name of this 80s TV show, late 70s and early 80s TV show,
Okay.
The Rockford.
Say again, the Rockford.
The Rockford
Files.
3. You've got 3 moves. I've run up the stairs. Right, you ready, Ryan? Press your first button. Bling. It's a PS5.
Right, I don't know how's that.
Do you want to bank it or keep moving?
PS5 in 1986.
Right, it's a bit of a time slip, but I'm going to put modern things in because this is about value judgments, and I can't offer you 80 stuff as value judgments, right?
Okay.
So PS5.
No bothered. Carry on.
Carry on.
Bang.
£50.
£50.
£50 and a PS5. Do you want to continue or do you want to bank it?
£50. I mean, if I'm playing with, so who am I playing with? Because I'll need to discuss this with whoever it is that I'm.
You are playing with your who are you playing with? Let me think. Somebody of the time that Strike It Lucky was on. You are playing with Frank Carson.
Frank Carson.
That's the way you tell him.
Right.
Ryan, keep going.
He's sorted.
Hey, Ryan, keep going. We don't
That's
need
good.
a
That's
we don't
good.
need a PS5,
Right,
Ryan.
fuck it then. Go, third one. Let's bring it on. Third one. Bang.
Right, you've lost. All right, we've lost the PS5. That's the way you tell him. What do you call it? PS5. I could have used that 50 quid to buy it myself.
That's enough.
So that's a hot spot. Right, we're keeping going. You're not done yet. Next
That's
question.
3. On
No.
more questions.
Aye, so you've lost nothing so
Right.
far. Next question, right? Which, what was the name of the first Legend of Zelda game that was released in 1986?
What was the name of it?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What's this called?
What's the Legend
name of the
Zelda?
game?
What is the the smaller title?
I'm going to have to rush. I'm going to have to hurry.
Legends of Zelda Links. Oh, I forget what order it comes in. Link to
No,
the
I'm sorry,
Past.
it's called The Legend of Zelda. The second question is this. What was the name of the robot that shipped with the Nintendo Entertainment System?
Robbie.
No, I'm so afraid that's wrong. It's actually ROB, it's Rob. And third, I'll give you, I'm going to, hold on, I've just heard from the producers. I'm going to give you, and my final question to you is this, Ryan.
Go on.
Which EastEnders actor shot a taxi driver?
That would be Leslie Grantham, I think.
Correct. So that's, you've got 2 moves, right? You ready? Press your
Okay,
button.
Right. Have you done the run up?
All right. I've run up top. Right, here you go. Press your button.
Bang.
Trip to Paris.
I would have needed that 50 quid, to be honest. To, make
What,
it
to
on-
go? To go to Paris?
So let's move on. Second one, bang.
A case of whiskey.
That's fine.
Yeah, a case
That's
of whiskey
fine.
and a trip to Paris. There you go. Right, I'm not going to do the rest of it, but what else you could have won is a set of golf clubs. Mm-hmm. Then it would have been a hot spot.
Right.
Then your last one would have been 350 quid you would have won, which would have been good.
Wow.
But everybody went away happy if you Strike It Lucky. This is the thing as well, that everybody went away with something, you know. And Michael Barrymore was just total positivity. He would play with your granny, have a wee poke at her.
He's coming with nothing. I think it's fair to say he's getting on that show. What he's need. I'm
got fuck all.
no sense in rehearsals.
No.
He's just.
He's got stuff written in an oak card. He's got people's names or jobs.
Rolls Royce sits in his dressing room for maybe half an hour, 45 minutes, probably puffing or whatever, having a wine, and
Yep.
then he's it, and he's just.
And probably banging out 6 episodes a day or something.
Aye.
Running up and down these stairs. And I just want to say, Michael Barrymore, what a pro, what a professional, what a guy. Ryan, I feel like we've covered 1986 quite intensively now.
Yeah, I think it might be time to move on,
I
unfortunately.
think it's time to move on into the future. Obviously, the next year will be 1987. That's where we'll be heading next.
Sign of the Times.
Sign of the Times comes out in 1987. Hey, here's an interesting thing. Mona Lisa was executive produced by George Harrison, who is famous for being Ringo Starr's pal.
Oh. Was he not also on the Beatles?
He was also in the Beatles. I'm just trying to check if there's anything I forgot to mention. There's a lot of kind of interesting stuff. I don't think I've really forgot to mention anything. It's been an absolute triumph. Now, remember, everybody, if you can give me something for the morning guft, if anybody wants to contribute any kind of chants or songs, just send it to a PO box or emails.
We'll be sorting all that out in the very, very near future, we hope.
Whatever way you want to contact us, and also in the comments, if you end up watching Lovejoy, if you end up watching Strike It Lucky, let us know, because we want to hear that kind of feedback as well.
Robert liked it more than I did.
What, Strike It Lucky?
Yeah, Strike It Lucky.
How do you like Strike It Lucky?
I'm not saying
I've never met anybody that doesn't like Strike It Lucky.
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said that you liked it, Mel.
Here's a question for you, Ryan. What was Strike It Lucky's name when it returned later?
Strike It Rich.
Strike It Rich. There we go.
I prefer Lucky.
Yeah, I prefer Lucky as well, because, listen, as a wise man once said, you're better to be lucky than rich.
Do you want to do the obituaries? Are you going to sing for us?
Yeah, give me a couple of dead guys.
Okay. Dick Van Dyke. Know that one. A politician. Called Dick Van Dyke.
Was a politician called Dick Van Dyke, wasn't he?
Tenzing Norgay. Scatman Crothers.
Oh, Scatman Crothers died. Axe in the back.
Ella Baker. Donna Reed. Wallace Simpson. Lily Krause. Ted Knight. Lady Diana Cooper. Una Merkel. Rudy Valens. Rudy Vallee. Daisy Arnaz.
Oh, I Love Lucy.
Cliff Burton. Keenan Wynn.
Somebody else?
Sir Robert Helpman. Gardner Fox. And how do you say that one there? How would you say that one there? That third to the bottom.
Otto Preminger.
Preminger. See, I thought it said Preminger.
This is CVXX for two of the greatest cultural reporters that the UK history has ever seen. And this is a retro show about games, movies, TV. We're working our way from 1984 right to the modern times. Tell them, Ryan!
Are you sick? Are you absolutely sick right up to your back teeth of America? Well, you need to watch CVXX, because we're not that bothered about America. I mean, we acknowledge its existence, but we're more concerned about what was happening in the UK when we were growing up. That's what the show's about. So why don't you watch it? CVXX.
Find us on YouTube. Find us on YouTube. Find us wherever you find your things. And I'll tell you something else. Consylvania, patreon.com/Consylvania. All right. And America, listen, let me tell you something. You're a crumbling empire.